Tasmania's southwest is synonymous with remote wilderness and a place for only the hardiest of visitors, but it's also been home for a handful of people. The last family to live permanently at Melaleuca were tin miners, Peter and Barbara Wilson. Mrs Wilson is still a regular visitor. The mine is now abandoned and the government's been given $500,000 in federal money to look at rehabilitating the site and absorbing it into the World Heritage Area. Fiona Breen reports.
It stands silent and eerie in the rugged landscape. Tasmania's most isolated tin mine, nestled in the buttongrass plains of Melaleuca in Tasmania's southwest.
He didn't make a fortune, of course, but he made a living, and it was a way of life because we loved living here.
Worked by Peter and Barbara Wilson, it's been silent for 3 years.
We sold the last tin at the beginning of 2008, and we did the final rehabilitation in 2008.
Tin was mined at Melaleuca for decades, first by well-known Tasmanian bushman Denny King and then the Wilsons. The two families were neighbours for over 20 years.
Denny, he was here, and we became very good friends with him. He was a very big help when we came here. He helped us, and we became very good friends with his daughters and their husbands, and we still are good friends with them.
Since Denny King's death in 1991, the Wilsons were Melaleuca's only permanent residents. You must look back at that time fondly.
Yes, we did. We had, we had very nice. We used to have meals together. For instance, if I did a roast, a leg of lamb, or Denny did one, when he was on his own here, if he felt like having a leg, he'd come over and say, I'm doing a leg, would you like to come over and share it? And then he'd say to me, and will you make a pudding? Because he wasn't very good at making desserts.
Melaleuca wasn't for the faint-hearted. Like Denny King, Peter and Barbara Wilson had to turn their hands to anything.
You had to be able to be good with your hands. If you can't make things or fix things, then you'd spend a fortune getting people in to do it. So he made all the mine plants, and he could fix everything. So he was good with his hands. He was also very clever as well.
All of that, put it all together. So what was your job?
I looked after. I would be in the building up there and watching all the machinery, that everything was working properly, and checking the jigs, making sure that nothing was, that the conveyor hadn't stopped, or made sure the ground was travelling through.
Originally from the UK, they'd lived and worked in South Africa, but it was the southwest that stole their hearts.
We enjoyed just being here and doing things together, and going out in the boat, and sort of we could catch a few fish in Port Davey, and just enjoyed that. Sort of days off, going bushwalking. When we decided to take a few days off, we'd do a walk to South West Cape, or we'd just do a day walk around here sometimes.
For Barbara Wilson, visits to Melaleuca these days are bittersweet. Husband, business partner and fellow nature lover Peter Wilson died last year. Now she's retired and splits her time between Hobart and Melaleuca.
I'll still be coming down here and still looking at the birds, hoping they survive. And but I'm retired now, so I'll be doing, I won't be here all the time.
A keen bird watcher, she's an integral part of the orange-bellied parrot recovery team. During the breeding season, morning and night, she observes the tiny rare parrot and records which ones have made the journey across Bass Strait to Melaleuca for the breeding season. So, Barbara, have you climbed any of these mountains?
Yes, old Mount Council.
Nearly 40 years since she first visited the southwest, the rugged wilderness and its wildlife is still drawing her back.
Still plan to visit definitely in the summer and probably Easter. They'd come back each October to see the birds.